Radiant team pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Slada.
OG's turn to pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Winter Wyvern.
Radiant team pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Ember Spirit.
OG's turn to pick. Seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. OG's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. OG's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining.
Alchemist.
Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Shadow Fiend.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
LFY is going to be pretty pressured to make things happen, and we're going to see the OG that we saw earlier, right? Where No Tail as a Terrorblade is a huge space creator. He had such an amazing day one on that Terrorblade. I was very impressed by him.
Oh, totally. I think that it was. Oh, good luck, baby comes out. Monet.
All right.
A little bit saucy early on here. I like this. You don't always end up seeing the sort of banter that you normally have between similar regions. It's nice to see it.
Yeah, I know. Trying to distract OG with sex appeal is a pretty good idea. I think Nortel's pretty susceptible to that. Clever play. Much like the Arteezy Eternal Envy love-hate relationship. You know how Envy got the early one-up on Arteezy by tilting him in a pub? Similar scenario here. You gotta reach outside of the game, outside of the box, you know, Gabe, to find those little advantages.
Well, I like the idea of it. Early on, you already see Anna here cutting down a lot of these trees. They do not want to allow Monkey King to mess with them, and this is a really cool idea. You sit around for a little while. You got a Quelling Blade. What else do you have to do besides try and hunt for a Monkey King or cut off his ability to jump around? And now movement in. I think that this is going to be effective.
Yeah, this could be pretty interesting. Oh, there's smoke pops on the Monkey King. That's a bit unfortunate. They really wanted to get the bounty rune kill and just be able to pop out, kill the SF, take his bounty rune or something. But they're actually not going to be able to get a bounty rune for Anna because of that.
What? Okay, well, that's really unfortunate, certainly. And it ends up trading off all across the
just
board.
Just a wild tree walking across the lane. The creeps, they're so dumb. They're just like, that's normal. Yeah, trees walk all the time. No big deal. Just keep moving, fellas.
Well, how much does that hurt Anna right now? He's going to actually start with Acid Spray since he didn't end up getting a bounty rune. This feels like it might make it a little bit more easy for him against Super on the Shadow Fiend in the mid lane.
It slows down his bottle timing slightly, but it's not that big of a deal. You make up for it in CS, it seems, as he hits all 4 of those creeps, and Super Little Super's already low on regen, so he's going to have to burn through those shared tangos pretty early.
You know, you talked a lot about No Tail on the Terrorblade. He's been playing it fairly consistently throughout this, but we haven't seen a lot of the safe lane Ember. Does this differ at all from the normal mid lane in any meaningful fashion, or is it just you come online a little bit earlier?
No, not terribly. It's just like we've seen it a few times before DAC, and it's just when you're forced into it because there's a bad mid matchup. It doesn't like hurt the hero very much. It does seem a little lackluster from a safe lane farming position. The hero does still put pressure on most offlaners, but Centaur is going to be one that's going to be more difficult to put pressure on. He's tankier than normal. He also has a heavy amount of magic damage coming out from that hoof stomp to clear through the flame guard early, so the first couple of levels, you're not really going to put too much threading power on S4.
You can already see here as well, 5 and 3 to start off his laning phase. S4 is having a wonderful time. They are going to try and get a little bit of a slow onto S4 for the moment, force him back out of lane, but it does not look like LPC is going to get within range to throw the magic missile or even have any great desire to do it.
Yeah, I think this is why they bring White down here, is because the Ember Spirit, Vengeful Spirit is not going to be good enough. So bring the extra hero to shove the Centaur out of lane, can't let him have a good start. That does leave Jixing over here on the Slardar left alone. Normally, he would have the Monkey King as a, sort of an aggro dual lane against the Lina Terrorblade, but he's going to have to wait a little bit.
Jerax, always one to rotate, wants to go in with the Winter Wyvern, but unfortunately there was a quick spot of it. Super backs out, and they weren't able to find anything with that rotation. But still, it's not necessarily like it's a bad time at all. Both heroes just farming away. Maybe Shadow Fiend a little bit ahead in terms of denies, although Ana's getting a couple more last hits, looking for possibly a kill. If he had enough there for that last raise, it would have been his death.
Yeah, could have gone the long-range raise if he just had 5 more mana, gotten an early kill. But now Ana popped his healing salve, has the bottle in hand, and he'll be good until probably about level 5. The SF gets another big power spike with the raises, and can actually get a 1-2-3 raise combination that brings down Alchemist. But because of the Monkey King's influence as well, I highly anticipate Ana's just going to abandon lane around level 4.5, 5. Give that lane to Jerax perhaps as the Winter Wyvern, or even S4 if he's struggling to find farm. He could rotate over, and Ana could just spend time in the jungle. He's already got stacks available, as you could see.
Ooh, this is really good. Yeah, this early levels, Monkey King is going to try and soak up some experience here. And if he gets a couple of levels, gets a couple points into that Boundless Strike, suddenly you're going to have a great possibility to find kills when Ana goes back to mid lane and then the raise comes out. But for now, at least, just going to soak up experience. Looks like LPC is going to come over to contest a little bit as well. They need to do something because they can't just let this Alk farm like this.
White is going to jump down and start getting some damage onto Ana. Maybe they can actually kill him.
There's the magic missile that comes out. Super there as well. Right click and the raise. They take him down. Jerax is just going to back out and away. White in the meantime trying to run away. They've brought in Fly as well. A very tenuous situation. The neutral ends up denying the Monkey King. S4 is chasing Super, who is behind and in between the tier 1 and tier 2 towers. And, well, they lose another as well. 3 die, one of them to neutrals, but it's a heavy price to pay for killing that Alk.
Yeah, I think that OG did not expect that kind of rotation because there's a big reason why you don't rotate into that off-lane jungle area, is that you're very rapidly going to be surrounded by heroes. There's a lot of TP points, and there was an aggro dual lane situation going on for OG. Nice deny in the bounty rune there from Super, denying that from Ana. So it ends up working to the favor. Like, yeah, they took the stack, but it doesn't matter. Like, Ana came back. He got a little bit of CS in mid. The supports really benefited off of that, but they're going to kill Ana again.
Nicely done. This rotation game from LFY, constantly putting them in positions to find these kills. It's working out fabulously.
And I'm looking around at some of the other lanes, and it's going pretty well there. No Tail is...
Oh, they got another kill here. Jerax is going to drop.
Wow.
And Super keeps being the one to find these kills as well, which I feel is so important.
Yeah, he's moving around quite a bit as the SF. Very smart of him, though. They are going to lose their offlane tower pretty early. That's kind of standard against a Terrorblade, who's got a very favorable matchup against the Slardar. There's not much Jixing can really do about this.
This has been the sort of style that No-Tail has been playing as well, trying to make space for Ana in the mid lane so that way he can just farm to his heart's content and then carry them in the later stages of the game. It does feel already, though, that they're able to hem in Ana a little bit. They also were able to get finally the D wards over on the camps that Alchemist was stacking. Do you need to be too concerned about Shadow Fiend just getting out of control, being 3-1 and with 30 last hits at this point?
It depends on how well S4 is doing, because if the Shadow gets farm, he can still be shut down by S4. So that is for me. They get level 6 on Lina, they get the Blink Dagger on his heart. Just trying to initiate on the big damage dealer every single time. Pretty susceptible to heavy nuking power. So be third if I was OG, and simultaneously if I'm LFY, I don't want to feel too big about shutting down Ana's farm early, because the Terrorblade is going to be coming in to create space for Ana. So you create a minor bump in the road now, but it doesn't mean much in the long run to an Alchemist.
Yeah. In the acid spray, kill off the creeps very quickly. Ana heads back to the jungle. It makes sense. Apparently we've got a little bit of Ka going on.
Yeah, a little Kale. G-Sing is, because No-Tail's pushing into him so heavily, he is getting some okay CS as a Slardar. Like, Slardar is usually very inhibited in CS. It gets very poor farm as a solo offlaner. He's so easily shoved away by one support and one carry, but because of a 1v1 scenario, he is getting a bit more, and maybe he can have an earlier impact in this game, just like S4 is. But I highly anticipate this Centaur is going to be a lot more impactful. We'll have the faster Blink Dagger, and his skill set honestly will allow him to just do a lot more.
No, definitely. The Stampede, very impactful in the early points before the Blink Dagger even comes online. But it's also worth noting, they don't have as many of those easy point-and-click stuns that you sort of need to start the team fights. Fly is probably the best example of it with Light Strike Ray, but that's not super reliable. It does feel to me like there's going to be this timing when you've got Boundless Strike, you've got Magic Missile, and LFY are going to hit a nice timing there. Do you think that that's something that you need to be concerned about for OG?
Yeah, this is going to be timing pretty soon here. Usually when you have level 8 or 9 and working on Veil is when your safe lane Ember Spirit comes into play and starts being super active. But they're actually going to try and bring him in a lot earlier, and it may surprise OG.
Oh, they're on the No-Tail, the jump forward with the Remnant Monet. Oh, they don't decide to go for it. And so because of that, well, it recognizes that Ember Spirit rotated out of lane. We'll see if they can make anything of it nonetheless.
You see S4 at bottom, he's like, sweet! All right, I get a now 1v1 against a level 3 Vengeful Spirit. More farming time for me.
I really like that OG keep on just tearing down trees whenever they get an opportunity to. They just keep on buying Quelling Blades and make that happen. A scan is going to reveal that Sing is heading down towards that rune as well. Winter Wyvern is going to head off into the trees, and from that, be able to continue the aggression.
Yeah, they hook up with the Monkey King Slardar duo. This should be, in theory, a very powerful duo. A lot of physical damage, some minus armor, now that Slardar's level 6. But they're not leaving any important heroes at top. In fact, it's going to be maybe LPC dies.
Oh, well, trying to turn. S4 actually is going to end up dropping there. The Stampede just a second too late, and well, Super ends up being a part of that kill again. He has been everywhere. I
was like, S4 is probably like, what the hell is a Shadow Fiend doing in the bottom lane? Like, how did that happen? LFY seem to have some pretty unique ideas about moving this SF around so much. They're now going to let Monet occupy the middle lane, though I do like, this is what OG's special flavor is to the Terrorblade. They bring him online super early and threaten towers. They pretty much play like around the clock on this Metamorphosis timer. Every single time it's off cooldown, No-Tail looks to make an aggressive maneuver.
Likewise, though, the rest of LFY is here, and Super ready to jump in at a moment's notice. There were a couple of pinks. They might have scouted out that they're in the area. It does look like OG are going to back out after doing about half damage to that mid-tier 1 tower.
Yeah, but look at the damage that No-Tail caused. LFY, they took a lot of chip damage on their mid-tier 1 tower. They also had to rotate multiple heroes into mid lane, and yeah, OG had to back off, but No-Tail's still going to make use of that Metamorphosis on the jungle. Now, LFY is doing the right play. They had to rotate like that, but now they have too many heroes here. They want to try and threaten the tower and see if they can actually get a fight.
They're going right away onto Ana. Oh, the
nice
Sunder
swap.
coming in from No-Tail. Going to keep him alive. Yeah, that's a little bit of help from your friends right there.
Yeah, that was Cool blade there from No Tail. He's going to back off, hit a shrine up, and then go straight into the jungle again, while Ana uses that full HP to work on the Radiance some more.
I was wondering if maybe they're thinking about diving further with a second Remnant towards No Tail, but that might have been a little bit too bold. Fly just going to soak up a little bit more for himself. No Tail comes back. Nothing really lost from that play. Still, S4 Centaur is going to farm barely close to his Blink Dagger. Gotten good farm.
Who doesn't have good farm though is this Ember
point.
Spirit, man. Ember Spirit is... He's only sitting at 3,200. He's behind every other core in this game right now, despite having the same one. And he's made these rotations, but hasn't connected with any of them. That's because OG's playing pretty safe, right? They're oftentimes grouped around the mid area. If they're top, most of the time it was Winter Wyvern.
And this is going to potentially be the kill that he needs to get back into this game. They don't quite connect onto the chains, but they do still have Remnants if they want to use it. The Cold Embrace, that was as the Stampede came out, it looked like, and, well, he is going to end up paying for it. No Tail jumps forward, Monet going to find him, and they get that kill.
Yeah, this is why No Tail was avoiding some of that top lane areas, is because of potential rotations like that. He just didn't realize he was going to be in Viz Room. But OG are making the most of it, right? The space created by all those heroes being at top is going to be somewhat undone or rectified by the fact they're pushing in mid, get more chip damage onto that tower. In fact, it's now in deny range. Even if you don't get the bounty for the tower, it's still worth a lot just to be able to take away that map control.
And, you know, you just see the Blink Dagger reveal on a great target a second ago, kind of waiting to see what S4 is going to do with the same type of thing. It just still is a problem where what's the follow-up afterwards? It feels like they need that Terrorblade to be there to be the damage dealer. Lina doesn't really have the levels, and Wyvern isn't really making that much happen at this early stage.
Yeah, they've got Metamorphosis up. I think it's literally just waiting for Blink Dagger and level 6 on Lina. He's just going to take a pause for a minute, though. The fight may still happen at bottom first.
They're on top of him, looking for the jump. They're able to catch. There's the crush as well, and so close to that Blink Dagger. Another huge kill for LFY.
That's gigantic, man. He really should have had his Blink Dagger by now. He was like 9 gold away from it when he died, so needs another 200, maybe play off the neutrals. But this does mean, like, No Tails, he feels a little stymied now, because normally he'd be making aggressive rotation about now. Now he has to wait a little longer for the Centaur and Lina. Lina, who still needs another creep wave to hit his level 6 and have that Laguna Blade ready to go.
Oh, Arcane Boots for her. You've got a lot of sustain here, but it does it feels as if they need every piece of it to work together. Whereas if you take a look at LFY's draft, they only need like 1 or 2 heroes. You need the Venge and the Slardar, or the Slardar and the Shadow Fiend. And they are sort of grouped up in the mid lane now with Ember and Slardar there. They might think about going onto this Wyvern again, and well, Crush a little bit off the mark, not able to catch Jerix.
Jerix has gotten a lot of solo time in lanes to kind of recover. This is a really good way to allow your roamer to recover. You know, he was trying to move into the mid lane and do things like that, and he got really underleveled and underfarmed because of it, but they gave him some time at top. He now has his level 6. This Winter's Curse could be very impactful, either setting up potential stun combinations or even just allowing them to get the quick kill and then backing away. In some ways, using that Winter's Curse as a zoning mechanism.
There is another smoke by both teams, as mid lane is where they're trying to bait out the Shadow Fiend. Though it looks as if OG not willing to go for the bait. Movement now down towards bottom. They want to try and catch this Alchemist. It does not look like he's going to stick around either, though. Both teams, I think, realize that there's ganks happening and don't want to be the one to lose their core.
Yeah, too many heroes off map as a whole. So OG know to play pretty defensively. You can see their wards also very defensive, based around guarding the entrances to jungle areas where Ana is most commonly going to be found farming. So they just want to protect him. Oftentimes they want to play aggressive with 4 heroes on one side of the map, so Ana's able to farm the other side of the map. They want to draw attention away from him.
Also an Invis rune on S4. This might be the missing piece in their draft, and this little team fight that's coming up that will end up tilting the scales, but looks like LFY again going to back out. Ember Spirit goes mid, knows he needs to catch up, and they're going to leave it be at that. So a very disciplined play coming out from LFY. I'm pretty impressed with what they've been able to put together so far.
Yeah, I did not watch the series of LFY versus Wings, but think it was Fogged who said that LFY looked really good in that series. It wasn't just Wings choking or anything like that. So LFY definitely deserves to be here. They're not just some schmucks who just kind of wandered into a big tournament like this. There's the Shadow Blade. Still not going to find. It's just OG are playing too grouped up and too defensive. At some point in time, LFY, this is the thing, is that OG play this kind of style, and teams will get a little bit too anxious. They know they need to get a team fight to happen eventually, and they're not patient enough. So eventually they just stumble into the wrong fight. You know, they push into a tier 1 tower that's defended by OG, and OG will experience this big windfall as they successfully defend a tower and have a good team fight around it. LFY, they need to keep that patience. I know the Alchemist is in the game, but you can't worry too much about the build-up of the Alch. That'll just like force mistakes to happen.
I mean, they do have to be aware of it, because we did just see that Radiance picked up for him. And
yeah.
Well, I understand the not forcing it issue. It's never a good idea, but maybe this is the answer as Monkey King is heading up towards the jungle. There's several other heroes in the area. It looks like over by the shrine now. Slardar trying to set up. Ana's revealed as well, but they aren't going to go on him.
Duper may still find a Shadow Blade initiation here.
Looks like there is a Sentry Ward already dropped, though, and looks like OG now the ones to be aggressive. Very back and forth cat-mouse games going on here.
Yeah, this aggressive poke out from OG with this smoke, but again, it does seem like LFY have pretty good read. They're going to let LPC drop here. Not a big deal by any means. It's not like there's even a mid-tower for OG to try and pressure anyway, so they're just going to use that time to go back and farm jungle.
I mean, is the onus on LFY right now to find kills, or do you think that... Okay, it very much is.
Yeah, it definitely is. They just can't get too over-anxious and stumble into the wrong team fight. They're still farming pretty well. The big thing is that like SF needs to continually bounce off of jungle and lane. Like SF needs to not quite match the Alchemist in farm, but he does need to be kind of keeping pace. I would say within a 2 to 3K window for the first like 25 minutes of this game. The SF is not the tower hitter that he will be eventually. So in some of this early game, they don't really have the power to just overwhelm these outer tier 1 towers. And OG know that. OG know that they have enough fighting prowess to be able to defend tier 1 towers. And it's why they're waiting for that mistake of LFY.
You know, it almost feels to me as if LFY are thinking that they can go later, though, and be comfortable in it. Because you saw there the Slardar, he's going back for the Hand of Midas at this point. Obviously, it's just to remain relevant as the game goes on. He knows it has the potential to go late, but it doesn't feel as if they're under pressure, or maybe it doesn't feel like it's a lack of confidence either, though.
Oh, no. I think judging from their play, they really are being very confident about their decisions. I wouldn't say necessarily they feel good about going super late game or anything like that, but I do think their timing is going to be based much more around 25 and 30 minutes rather than trying to force things to happen at 15 and 20. Okay. You can't let like just the Radiance itself on the Alchemist make all the decisions for you. Because he's getting Radiance at this time, we need to take all their outer towers. You know, that's the wrong mindset to have. As long as you're farming as well, it's okay. You're going to be able to utilize, maybe you have less farm than him, but you're going to be able to utilize that farm better than an Alchemist can. You have to remember this guy soaks up a lot of farm off of the map, and it's taking it away from some of his allies. So as long as you're continuing to farm on your 3 cores and you have a game plan for progressing past 35 and getting into that 45-minute territory, I think LFY is fine.
Yeah. And you saw there the Midas did just finish off for the Slardar as well. Ember Spirit's got into his Blade Mail on top of the Veil, and with the bots next, I believe is what he's going to be going for. You have a nice situation here where he can keep the lanes pressured out and then go as 4 with the rest of them and have the ability to jump into the fight at a moment's notice.
Yeah, remember I kept referring to like a crime of opportunity or something like that. It's based around opportunities. That's what LFY are sitting at a point, right? They would love to be able to take these outer towers. They would love to be able to take tier 1 on both sides of mid and the off lane tower and kind of open up the jungle areas a little bit more and limit the area that OG can farm a bit. But it's only going to be found through the right kind of smoke rotation, the right pick-off or team fight initiation.
So still the Alchemist farms. He's flirting with around that 4K net worth lead above the Shadow Fiend right now. Ana building back towards the Manta style after finishing the Yasha. But I certainly feel like with this BKB, now might be that good timing for LFY to look for a group up, look for some type of pressure on the map, and it does look like that's going to be the smoking going.
Yeah, you don't commit to this somewhat earlier BKB on an SF without having a clear game plan in mind. So Roshan, tier 1s, tier 2s.
Yep. Presence of the Dark Lord is maxed out. You've got yourself the amplified damage, Vengeful Spirit in the area. OG realizing that this is happening just a couple seconds too late and does not look like they're going to be able to contest. So a free Roshan, and LFY, they just keep on assembling these chess pieces together, all the little advantages they're building up, and now it does feel like it's going to be the time for them to take advantage of it and try and take a fight.
Yeah, look at the farm difference right now between our Slardar and our Centaur. You can't point to the Hand of Midas being the difference maker there, right? He just picked it up. It's the fact that Alchemist and Terrorblade are taking so much of the farm that it's hurting their 3 position. And normally that's okay. But LFY are playing it pretty smart, pretty farm efficient. They do know their Alchemist game. It's been run a lot in the Chinese meta leading into this tournament.
They ready to get very aggressive here. They're going to jump forward, hoof stomp onto both of the cores. They do still have the Winter's Curse. If they want to use it, Monet's in trouble. They turn it now onto the Shadow Fiend, but he gets swapped out. Great play there by the Vengeful Spirit. Monet's still going to be controlled and brought down. That's only the Aegis for now, though. Looks like OG to be at least a little bit careful. There's Corrosive Haze on a lot of these heroes. They get a crush onto 2. S4, he's going to end up not going down. Actually, they do find that kill with the Raze. BKB pop from Super. So now, OG need to be a little bit more trepidatious about going in.
It is still not enough for them to really break OG and take that tier 1 tower. So I would say that's an OG win. They fought into an Aegis. They also used another BKB charge on SF, and they still held. This is a combination of they have this Winter Wyvern who's really tough to push into because of the Splinter Blast. They also have the Acid Cloud that's out. And it's also another thing is just the positioning of OG. They always are reading where LFY is going for a push like this, and they set up preemptively, making it a lot more difficult.
A very good hold. LFY would love to be able to start breaking down these objectives, but with only one tier 1 taken in that top lane, feels like it has to be off the back of Super catching somebody out with a nice Requiem of Souls, or possibly just a Slardar crush followed up by Ember Spirit and then finding the pickoffs. OG is not giving them those opportunities.
No, they really aren't. OG, it's kind of cool, right? They use this Terrorblade to bully down the enemy's tier 1 towers before you truly have stopping power for him. Like, the Metamorphosis is just overwhelmingly strong that he takes the offlane tower because there's nothing you can do about that. And then he just rapidly rotates in these other lanes and takes them so quickly. And then they're actually defending the important towers of their own. They keep that mid-tier 1 tower up for so long and keep that offlane tower up because they know LFY could just play an efficiency game if they hold more map control than OG. So they want to keep this map control intact as long as possible.
Well, taking down Fly right here and then following it up with soon to be a tier 1 tower is certainly what they need to do. The Force Staff, or rather Hurricane Pike from Terrorblade, not able to save Lina there. No Tail does have a DD rune, but the Crush, this is a good one if they can take it. Fly still there. He's back in an instant because of that minus respawn. Sunder comes off, which is going to control Super for a moment, but Pump fakes the Requiem of Souls, hasn't used it as of yet. They still do have swap from LPC, but don't really want to swap in one of your teammates to die to their...
I thought he was going to swap. I was like, just do it, dude. Save your own life. Well, he gives up his life to make sure that all of his allies are able to run away. That tier 1 is still up, though, because of the fact that OG kind of baited out a team fight farther to the right. LFY took the bait, they chased it down, and did not focus on taking that tier 1. I think they really should have just been happy with the kill they got on the Lina, quickly taking that tier 1 tower, and then kind of gone from there. If there were more opportunities to fight after that, sure, go for it, but...
I mean, now we're looking at 18,000, almost 19,000 net worth on the Alchemist, 6,000 gold ahead of where this SF is. And SF has a lot of items that allow him to fight right now. You've got that Shadow Blade, Yasha for movement speed, but it definitely is feeling like their window is rapidly closing to actually kill this Alk.
Yeah, with their item choices, but between the earlier BKB and now going for an SNY and the SF, it's like at first they were saying, no, we're okay think being able to like just kind of farm for right now, we're going to hit our timing at 25-30 minutes. It'll be okay. And then all of a sudden now they're just going all in at that 25-30. They're not trying to give SF items that allow him to progress, 35-40 minutes like we were talking about earlier. They're just like saying, we have to win this now. Yeah. And I'm not sure if that's crumbling under pressure. I'm not sure if that's like the right idea for this matchup, but I can kind of see where they're coming from. They're feeling like, man, we just really haven't been able to crack OG yet. And they do have 50% of the map with an Alchemist. They have a Terrorblade as well. We also have some really good Ags to pass around.
Yeah. I think the other thing to mention is that if they do manage to kill off that Alchemist right now, it's a lot of items that allow that to happen. That's a huge swing over because you do still have the Slardar that's actually almost ahead of the Terrorblade in terms of farm. So the rest of the heroes from LFY are there. It's going to need to be a group effort put together to bring down the raid boss and that Alchemist.
Let's see, how is our Slardar doing? He picked up a Force Staff, and he's now going a Shadow Blade next instead of maybe more of a team fighting item in like BKB. But he is doing a remarkable job keeping up in farm. I think that G-Sing is pretty good in that from an offlane position, is keeping up his farm rate. That's why he's, I think, really good on Legion Commander in particular.
Yeah. Well, No Tail shows up, and that dissuades LFY from going any further towards the Tier 1 tower. The unbreakable Tier 1s, you could say. Oh, Ana now getting the stun ready, but the Shadow Blade, he's going to stun himself. It's a scary time, but the Force Staff going to keep him getting gone on. Good decision from LFY there not to overcommit or anything. And the Stampede, they're looking, they're trying to find it. LPC, he is going to get caught, but it is only a Vengeful Spirit.
I guess it's very rarely, most of the time it's like you criticize the team for being too aggressive, and so being passive and controlled is oftentimes a sign of a very good team, and it's very rarely a detriment. But I do feel like LFY are almost being too passive in this regard, especially given their item choices on the SF as well.
This is their time, though. Bring down the Alk off of this, it would be huge, and that's going to be a lot of damage there. Force Staff away, keeping Monkey King alive. Still, there's not enough of the rest of the heroes here to make this work. Shadow Fiend shows up, pops his BKB, turns to maybe try and fight. Monet's going to keep a couple cold by the chains. Requiem of Souls come out, but it's just no damage. They're not on any of the heroes of OG. They're going to get this Tier 2 tower.
OG, I think they now have this game. It's just like they're getting so big. There was already, I think, a drafting advantage for OG. Having this last pick, Alchemist, it was a great Alchemist game. There's only so much LFY could do to pivot their roster into something better. The SF was probably one of the best heroes out there. They would have had to, like, maybe the only way they could have gone later is if they put mid-Ember against an Alk and then gone like a Morphling safe lane or something like that. I think SF was the right hero, and they had some of the right ideas. They didn't to get too over anxious, but at a certain point they missed their timing. They let Alchemist get up to this point where he now has an Assault Cuirass and you just don't have the damage to deal with him. They needed to be able to utilize heroes like this Ember Spirit when your magic damage was at its finest, right? Where you're able to have the potential to just blow up a core because you triple remnant him with Veil of Discord. That was your timing to be able to just go in and like take those towers. And OG did provide a stellar defense at all regards, but you still at some point in time had to say, it's time to man up.
Yeah.
It's time to force this. Damn it, we can't be afraid of the consequences of what happens if we lose this fight, because if you just, for lack of a better phrase here, if you just like wussy out, there it is.
Yeah.
If you just wussy out, then you're just going to let an Alchemist run over you 10 minutes later.
Yeah, wussy out, definitely. And the other thing there to keep in mind, as we do get this Winter's Curse off, thinking about going for more, there's the swap away. LPC again going to give his life for the cause. But it's sort of too much of a good thing, You talk again about not needing to commit stuff, and that was what we were talking about throughout the whole early stage. You don't need to force it. Don't need to force it. Eventually, you need to force it.
Yeah,
it's gotta happen.
I kind of regret saying that to LFY because Jesus, it was like they're like, oh, okay, no, we don't need to. Well, at some point, yeah, there's only so much give. So now it's going to be an Aegis for OG. They're going to take these tier 2s. They have really good high ground taking potential when the Alchemist reaches this kind of point. He's just so overwhelmingly strong that no one can really deal with him, so he's going to probably chip down a tier 3 pretty quickly.
All right, Super, do it one time. Requiem of Souls, we're waiting. He decides to
one
go
time for the homies.
There's the BKB popped. It's not really a ton of damage. Sunder as well to turn it. Oh, that's a pretty good combo. No Teal is not going to fall, though. A magic missile onto the Alk, only to hold back the tide of what could be a GG push. This is looking still terrifying for OG.
Yeah, I mean, it was still an Aegis on the Terrorblade, right? So even if they did manage to get that kill, it was just OG would have just shrugged it off and kept going. So yeah, I don't know, Gabe.
I mistakenly said there that it was looking scary for OG. I definitely meant LFY.
Oh, yeah, I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. I knew we were on the same page. It's not good for LFY.
It feels to me as if, again, they're also not going to afford them the opportunity to get back into this game. Is there an item, like with this BKB, does that change things at all for the Slardar and the way they take the fights?
Not really, no. The Butterfly would not really change things, but it would help a little bit for the SF and just getting more raw right-click damage. The big problem is, like, our Ember Spirit is not... Ember Spirit now has... It used to be this gradual build-up. On the old Ember Spirit, we're using the Sleight of Fist as your primary damage. But with this magic damage Ember Spirit, you have some very distinct peaks and valleys where you have a huge peak at 15 or 25, and you do drop off afterwards. You reach a serious valley where physical damage starts becoming more prevalent, but you've committed to this magic damage, and it's not as important anymore. So you reach this valley. It's the problem is that they didn't utilize the Ember Spirit well enough in the time that he was strongest, and now he's going to look super weak as he starts transitioning outside of that. If we eventually get the late game, the Ember Spirit does become relevant again, but right now, his damage is going to look so pitiful against the OG members who now have the innate stats to tank through the initial burst.
This has got to be one of the most fun games that Ana's played in this tournament, honestly. He's just been able to farm for the past, like, 20 minutes, basically. He got killed a couple times in lane early on from rotations, and then since then, he's been free to do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, he's just been hearing the sound of gold raining down constantly. An aggressive push out, see if they can catch somebody. If they do, then boom, it turns into a high ground push. Failing that, though, failing a pick-off like that, just control. Control. All that LFY can really do is aggressively push out with Monet and split push with him, but that's pretty much it.
Well, here it comes. Metamorphosis pop. Still got the Alk on the low ground. Going to throw out one of these stuns. Hit still onto the Shadow Fiend. Shrine has already been popped now, and you do also use the Glyph. So Ana stepping forward. They just don't feel like they can do anything to him. It is too hard to stop this pressure coming in from the damage dealer and the hero that's never going to die in Ana. So Monet taking a couple hits. This is going to be a barracks down, and I don't see what the answer is in the least bit.
Yeah, they try and get some damage on No-Tail. Like, they need to jump No-Tail, but at the same time, he's the one with the Aegis. They just can't target Ana at all because he's so big now. Yeah,
turns back around again for the stun. Throws it out onto the Slardar. No respect at all for any type of high ground defense because it's not there for LFY. They don't have any way to deal with it. Range barracks is going to drop as well. They are going to for a little bit of a swappage type of play, but Ana is going to be back and perfectly fine.
Sunder wasted by No-Tail on the Lincolns, but there it is. Kind of the zoning Winter's Curse to allow OG to extract themselves from that situation. Now they can take shrines. I think LFY, the only way that they could have taken that fight is if they did a smoke wraparound play. They needed to get to the backline first, try and blow up the Wyvern and Lina, give themselves a numbers advantage because clearly this Terrorblade and Alchemist are not the heroes you're going to be able to burst down. You can't focus them. So you needed to be able to take out the other heroes and then slowly work on the other two as 5.
You know, I watch a lot of the Chinese DPL, cast a good amount of it as well, and this is pretty typical of some of the types of games that they have there, where you have one team that has built up a nice timing, but then they don't always take full advantage of it, and then they kind of are left in this awkward spot where they just keep on trying to build up that advantage again, and then go for another strong timing. And you do have the Butterfly that's done now for the Shadow Fiend, which could be one of those other timings, but it feels as if OG is almost on to the next one. You've got those Aghanim Scepter, which I think ended up getting passed out. I'm not sure if it did or not, but regardless, he's going to be able to have it soon. Yeah, Lina does have that Aghanim Scepter given over to her by the Alk now.
All right, here's the play, Lyrical. You've got the Basher now on Monkey King, so just get super lucky with your Wukong's command. Get like batches on all 5 heroes over and over again.
Hit the lucky button, guys. Yeah. That's the play.
But believe in yourself. That's what he needs, Gabe. Just have faith.
Yeah, I think you gotta have faith. Gotta have faith. As OG gonna hit it down. Monet taking a lot of damage. Cap, it is looking grim and a half.
Take a fight. Come on, LFY. You can't just go down like this. You can't just be slowly attrition to death the whole entire game.
Oh, there it is. Alchemist stunned himself. This is what they've been waiting for. Your time is now. Go after him. Alchemist is going to be healed back up. They can't break through it in the least bit. He's still going to be stunned. He's getting bashed by Monkey King, but it's not nearly enough. And now you're not going to have ultis for the second round. Ana getting a little bit big there in the back line. They've got Slardar caught out. He does manage to get the blink away, but yeah, this is grim, to say the very least.
Lure them away, Fishy. Lure them away until we have our ults again. They've got Requiem, 70 seconds. I mean, I think OG they're going to play it super safe, and they're going to chill out. Maybe they wait for the next Roshan or something like that, but they've got a 20,000 gold lead.
Yeah.
Experience is even, though.
There you go.
Yeah.
The silver lining around this cloud that's sort of been this game for LFY. You do also have S4, who's finished off his Aghanim Scepter, so even if they did manage to start to bring that Alchemist low, you've got that countermeasure coming out from S4.
Yeah, I don't know how you actually deal with the innate regen of the Alchemist combined with the percentage-based regen of Cold Embrace, and then add on top of that if you throw magic damage at them, they can just pop the Centaur ultimate and mitigate most of that. It pretty much guarantees that under Gold Embrace and potentially using that ultimate, that Ana will just full heal. You know, you'll just full heal up in 4 seconds, he'll be good to go again.
It is quite difficult to deal with, and it's not just the Alchemist draft too, though. It's been the way that they've played around the nice timings from Shadow Fiend and the Ember Sphere. Like, that could have been a Naga Siren. It'd be pretty much the same story, I feel like. So, OG getting ready to move in yet again. Tier 3 tower already down, looking to try and secure their second lane of barracks if they want, or possibly just take down some wards and put the fear of God in LFY.
Metamorphosis back up. Time to go.
Monet taking the damage, pops the Blade Mill again. You can't Blade Mill the buildings, unfortunately, and that's going to be a melee barracks down. Super jumps forward. Another stun that went down on Ana, and now they're starting to bring down that Ember Spirit. Another stun throws out onto him. Requiem of Souls doing absolutely nothing. The MK ulti is not really able to disrupt this team fight all that much. White is going to drop. They lose 2 and they lose the game.
Did you see White? He was in next to that one little tree, and he threw down the Wukong's command and then turned himself into a tree to stand next to it. He was like, maybe I could just sit here with the Wukong's command and they won't notice me. But hey, LFY, you tried